This video is going to be about grief and bereavement. I'm making this, I guess, with the purpose of helping anyone who's just gone through a loss or anyone who hasn't unraveled some feelings they have about a previous loss. I recently went through the loss of my mother. It's been over a year, just over a year. And I'm not an expert. I can't tell you I have any credentials in terms of psychology or the study of grief, but I've done my own research, and I'm going to talk about two articles today. I found this one article from the British Journal of General Practice. Yeah, I'm reading that off of paper. It's called Understanding Grief and Bereavement. It's by a researcher named Ian J. Hamilton. And then the second one I found I really liked was from the New York Times. The author's name is Daniel Goleman, Goleman. It was published in 1985. So I will cite those somewhere, hopefully. I don't know. I'm going to warn you, it's going to be a little bit pieced together, but I'm just starting out, so I guess we'll get started. And just so you know, this is also just kind of an overview. I'm picking and choosing things out of these articles. There's a lot more there, so if you want to go take a look yourself, I would recommend that. Kubler-Ross with the stage theory, including shock, denial, anger, resentment, guilt, depression, and acceptance as the stages. Then there's Strobe and Shute, no promise that's correctly pronounced, who proposed a dual process model. So either being in loss orientation mode or in restoration orientation mode. One of those two would be the reality for the bereaved person at any given time. Then there's Shear et al. And others. So they proposed the idea of complicated grief, including a sense of disbelief about the loss. I'm reading off of notes, okay. Anger, bitterness, surrounding the death, reoccurring really strong negative emotions, and a sense of longing for the lost person. And then a preoccupation with thoughts about the person, including intrusive thoughts. So, thoughts that you can't control and that come in out of nowhere and maybe at the wrong time. Probably at the wrong time. And then there was this article from the New York Times, published actually in 1985, but I found it really well written and extensive. There was one quote, obviously I picked this one out, because it states, and I may be paraphrasing a little bit, among adults who suffer the death of a parent, women whose mothers die are most likely to suffer extreme mourning, apparently because of the closeness of that kind of relationship. And I was like, validation. So that was a really good article. Then there is the statement they made, normal bereavement follows no set course, which actually really contradicts some of these other previously stated theories. And then there was a phrase that was really intriguing to me, pathological mourning. So obviously anytime you hear the word pathological, that's kind of it has a negative connotation. It's kind of like this idea of impulsive, out of control behavior, which makes absolute sense when you think about grieving sometimes, depending on the scenario. I do know that I watched a TED Talk once from someone who I think counseled bereaved people. I'll have to look it up. And there were these cases she described as extreme bereavement, which sounds a lot like this pathological mourning thing. Essentially, the person's life stops. They can't function whatsoever. There's no way to hold down a job. They just go dead. My experience with my loss was due to my mom having cancer. She had had cancer 3 times, and this time was it. It was in 3 different places each time. The other thing that was kind of, I guess it's always going to be difficult, but essentially she was given 11 months to live and she died in 1 month. So it was just, not that it wasn't expected, because obviously she was sick and she was going through chemotherapy, but it happened faster than I guess was expected. So that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg on my experience. And it's also not like some kind of movie-worthy story. It's not like this person who's suffering with a terminal disease and, you know, comes to all these profound conclusions and their family surrounds them. It's just, it was not perfect. It left a lot of holes in my mind about my relationship with her, and I definitely didn't get to say a goodbye. So I have come to this place where I just want to make the best out of the experience I had. Not necessarily make the best of it, but help other people with it. Because it's something that you kind of don't even think about or don't even notice happening around you until it happens to you. And then you realize maybe you knew someone that was going through that when you were a kid, and you just kind of thought about it like, oh, their mom died, or oh, someone died in their family. And it doesn't seem like this high stakes thing. It just seems sad. Then it happens to you and you understand that the reality that you live in really shifts. It really, really does. I mean, that was my experience. I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but it was like a whole new world.